presentation.
Good morning and welcome to the midweek edition of A View from the House, coming to you live from the SABC studios at Parliament in Cape Town. Well, my name is Lukhanyo Khalata. Now, Parliament is scrutinizing budget of state departments. Yesterday, we brought you highlights of the budget vote debate of the Department of Basic Education. In our program this morning, we shift our focus to the Department of Higher Education. Now, later in our program, we'll recap on the Public Works budget vote. Now, the Department of Higher Education has identified the expansion of further education and training colleges as a top priority for this financial year. The Minister of Higher Education and Training, Dr. Nzimande, announced that the construction of 12 new campuses will start this year and the first student intake in the new campuses will begin next year. Now, 34.3 billion rands have been allocated to the Department of Higher Education for the 2013-14 financial year. Dr. Nzimande said 17.4 billion rand of that money has been allocated to ensure that FET college enrollments continue.
This represents the first phase of our FET college infrastructure expansion and should cater for up to 28,000 additional students next year. The 2.5 billion rands that we have set aside for capacity building and programs has been allocated to FET colleges to focus, this is an additional 2.5, to focus on expansion of enrollment. We are going to spend 2 billion rands on that, building institutional capacity with just under 400 million, and upgrading of equipment with just under 200 million. Building the institutional capacity of the colleges is essential, and we are drawing on the expertise in professional councils to assist us. During 2012, we developed an FET college turnaround strategy which focused on building college capacity in management, governance and leadership, financial management. Amongst other things, with the assistance of the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants, we are pleased to say that we have now appointed 48 chartered accountants as chief financial officers at FET colleges, with the remaining 2 colleges to receive their appointments shortly.
Minister Nzimande also announced the establishment of 2 new universities in Mpumalanga and the Northern Cape.
Much preparatory work has been done, and I now expect to establish the 2 institutions as legal entities next month. 2.1 billion rand has been earmarked for the development of the universities over the next 3 years. Both universities will open their doors in 2014 in selected academic programs using existing buildings. We will be having architectural competitions for the design of the main facilities, and we will be launching these sites for construction in September this year.
The Minister of Higher Education is also considering the introduction of fee-free university education.
Last November, I received a report from the working group on fee-free university education, and I'm studying its recommendations. I am preparing a submission to Cabinet to implement the ANC Mangaung Conference resolution to phase in fee-free education. Sesikhuluma njenge-ruling party ke manje ekhethwa abantu. With regard to funding more broadly, I have received a comprehensive report from the Ministerial Committee on the review of funding of universities, which will be published soon. We will model the various recommendations and develop a revised funding framework before the end of this financial year. The framework must ensure an effectively funded and strengthened university sector. Our aim is to ensure that all institutions, particularly those that service the poor, are able to offer quality higher education. Teaching and learning chairperson and honorable members are at the heart of our university system. An amount of 575 million rands has been allocated to all universities for teaching development grants to assist in improving graduate outputs, and 205 million rands for foundation programs to improve the success rates of students from disadvantaged educational backgrounds.
Dr. Nzimande also announced the department has allocated 5.7 billion rands to the National Student Financial Aid Scheme for the 2013-14 financial year. This includes 3.6 billion rands for loans and bursaries to universities, as well as 1.9 billion rands for bursaries at FET colleges. The minister then took the time out to lambast universities that confer senior academic qualifications to undeserving individuals and lecturers who exchange marks for sexual favors with students.
I am extremely concerned about the allegations of sex for marks practices at our higher education institutions, which mainly affects our female students, where male lecturers demand sex in order to pass some of the female students. This must be strongly condemned, and in dealing with this, I will be asking the Oversight Committee on the Transformation of South African Universities to investigate these allegations and provide me with recommendations. I also wish I saw some of my vice-chancellors there. I wish to also express some irritation I have, and I'm sure Honorable Wilmot James will agree with me. The ease with which universities are giving professorships, I'm uncomfortable about it. We must maintain standards. You can't have someone with a junior degree, has never done any serious scholarship work, gets awarded a PhD just because he went and fundraised for a chair in a university. That is completely unacceptable. We cannot lower our standards in that way. I am asking the vice-chancellors to look closely into this matter, and let's open a debate. A professor must be a professor. Asibafuna professor ba imkokotela.
The department has extended the infrastructure grant to universities from 2 to 3 years, increasing to 3.8 billion rands to 6 billion rands over the period 2012-2013 to overcome backlogs in historically disadvantaged institutions.
Through co-funding, institutions will contribute a further 2 billion rands over this period to bring the total investment in university infrastructure to 8 billion rands. Concrete proof that President Zuma is serious about investment into infrastructure in our country. I have gazetted for comment a draft policy on student housing in public universities. This policy will require universities, Minister Sekhwale, to improve student housing in many areas such as governance, maintenance, admissions for first years, and also set minimum standards for a proper living and learning environment for students across the sector. For the period 2012-2013 to 2014-15, I have allocated 1.6 billion rands for universities to build and refurbish student residences. And what is more important about this, 86% of this funding is going to historically disadvantaged institutions. We are also negotiating with the Public Investment Corporation and the Development Bank of South Africa to get additional funding for student accommodation.
Now, in his maiden budget vote debate, the Deputy Minister of Higher Education and Training, Nzimande, outlined the department's program to accelerate efforts to eradicate the physical, information and communication barriers which prevent persons with disabilities from fully participating in education.
This year, I took the initiative of visiting selected high schools for persons with special needs to encourage them to enter the post-school education and training system under the theme Disability is no barrier to learning, guided by the understanding that inclusivity is one of the underpinning principles of the South African education system. Honorable Deputy Speaker, I am happy to report that we have since set aside ring-fence funding for building capacity within our institutions to accommodate the needs of all persons with disabilities. We have also set aside student financial aid to fully support to fully support disabled learners to overcome the barriers that continue to face them. To get our SETAs involved, a partnership between the wholesale and retail SETA and the South African Disability Development Trust has ensued, which saw 404 disabled people being trained in 5 provinces, namely the Eastern Cape, Gauteng, Free State, KZN, and the Western Cape. The purpose of this intervention was to introduce disabled people to the wholesale and retail environment, equip them with workplace skills, and increase their employability. I am happy to report that several host employers have since opened up their workplaces for the 404 disabled people to acquire workplace skills. One of the beneficiaries of this program is my special guest today in the gallery, Mr. Sizakele Mdladla, who is wheelchair-bound and hails from Khayelitsha, who gave a testimony during one of the graduation ceremonies that I attended of how this program has since changed his life.
Let's take a break. A View from the House will continue in a moment. Stay tuned.